So it's finally time to take this blank canvas here and to turn it into a proper kitchen. But in order to do that, I need to cut a lot of holes and channels to run our electrical and our plumbing. And this is all extremely exciting for me because once we get past the hump of working with the electrician and the plumber, it is smooth sailing from then on out until the finish line of moving in. What that means for today, a lot of messy and dusty work cutting channels, starting with a air vent to run to our kitchen island, which I'm going to put through this back wall here. The nice thing about these bricks is they're actually meant to be cut open after you've installed them in order to then run channeling, electrical, and plumbing lines. So I've been kind of spinning my wheels on this project, honestly wasting a lot of time because I'm not entirely sure how they do certain things regarding electricity in Italy, and I want to make sure that it's done properly. For example, this area here is all above the countertop. We're going to have a series of outlets and some light switches. And some of these boxes, I'm not sure if you need to run one conduit to or two to them or more. They have an odd fetish with running conduits. They are useful, but it can be a little bit cumbersome. So rather than finish this all out and make a mistake and have to redo everything, I'm just going to simply wait until I can consult with our electrician and cut these areas out later and move on to something that I do know how to do properly. The process of taking these windows to where we want them to be has been a very slow and tedious process. I think I have close to a week of work into them. I've been kind of chipping away at it here and there. Daddy's been working on it for the last 2 or 3 days. And we're very close. I think just a couple more days of work and these windows will be finished off, ready to make the final measurements to order the windows, as well as building out a wood windowsill or a window bench, because these are now close to 24 inches deep and a beautiful little spot to kind of sit and enjoy the view. But for now, I think I'm going to finish off all of the insulation around the windows and glue that into place. Well, you guys know how much we love traveling and investing into family experiences, especially if we can book things on a budget, and that is where today's video sponsor, Klook, comes in. Klook is an experience booking platform with thousands of destinations around the world. It's easy to use, you can book all of your travel experiences on one platform, and most importantly, the prices cannot be beat. Right now, Klook is running their mid-year sale on destinations across Asia, Europe, and the United States with deals up to 40% off, buy two get one free, and more. So for example, you can book tickets to Walt Disney World starting at $78. I think that definitely would be a favorite with our kids. Or you can book Disneyland Paris tickets starting at $61. Or if you're coming to Italy, you can get tickets to the Colosseum for only $27. And realistically, whatever theme park or museum or tour you can imagine, Klook has you covered and all at unbeatable prices. Plus, if you use our unique link to book your first experience, you'll get an additional 10% off. So sign up using the link in the description below or by scanning this QR code. Both the app and the website are very user-friendly and a fun way to explore and get ideas for your next trip. Remember, by using our unique link or QR code, you not only get an additional 10% off, but you also help support our family. And thanks so much to Klook for sponsoring today's video. Well, today we're getting right back to insulation work. We've finished up all of the insulation on the walls, or at least as far as we can go, because we've run out of insulation waiting for more to ship in. But last night, some new insulation, a ton of insulation, has arrived for our roof, or rather this ceiling, because we will be insulating from the inside, which I know is going to lead to a lot of questions, and we will have those answered. We are using rigid pink insulation, which I'm sure Chloe's going to be loving.
So want to keep it exposed.
We're basically going to turn the entire house pink. We have to do the ceilings as well as the bottom floor. And we might use some of this for the walls as well, since we ran out of the other stuff, and that's hard to come by. But these specific rigid boards are pretty interesting because they have these overlaps, which are really good because then you can join two pieces together and it seals things up a lot better. So the scaffolding that I bought is absolutely garbage. It was good for like 3 days of work. And thankfully, the crew that we're working with let me borrow this, because this is going to save our butts. So before we add any insulation, we have to decide about light placement.
Okay.
Because we need to drill holes through the ridge beam in order to pass electrical. I'm thinking we should have on each side of the ridge beam 3 rows of lights. But I just don't know if we want one in each row, which would be 6 lights. It might look a little weird, but let me show you. So I think we should have lights here, here, and wait, no, that's not right. 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1 row here.
In between the beams?
Yes, they always have to be in between the beams. So we're going to be installing can lights into the ceiling, which I definitely prefer. And that's actually one of the benefits of insulating from the inside is when we add the new ceiling boards, we'll be able to add in some can lights, which I think are just better.
Mm-hmm, I agree. But
we're trying to figure out the placement and the amount. The room in here, as we're looking it out, as we're talking about, I think it should be almost 3 rows of 2 either side of the ridge beam, but that's 12 lights.
That's a lot of light. I think aesthetically, just by looking up at the ceiling, I think it would be nice to have that kind of symmetry. But I'm a little nervous that it might be too bright.
If we go 12, we'll get very small, dimmer bulbs that can be dimmed as well, which will create a more soft, natural light.
I think that sounds good.
A little bit extra work, but I think it's worth it. So yes, we are going to be covering up this beautiful, pristine ceiling, which I know people are going to feel like it's a stab in the heart. We've known about this since before we bought the house. When the previous owners installed this roof, they did a stunningly beautiful job, both inside and out. But at the time of doing that roof, insulation was not required to do. But because of the change of designation that we have to go through to make this a livable home under new guidelines, we are required to have the roof insulated. So there are 2 options. One is to rip the entire roof off, all of the stones, start over from scratch, and basically pay for an entirely new roof. Or to insulate from the inside, which means covering up the beautiful wood and the beautiful beams. We've chosen to do the latter because, one, we can. We literally can do the work. I can't tear off the entire roof and put it back on. It would take forever. So the cost of bringing in a crew to do that was 7 to 10 times the cost of doing it from the inside, which leads me to reason number 2, and that is cost. It is 7 to 10 times cheaper to insulate from the inside, which, yes, it means we're covering up the pre-existing wood and the beams, but we are replacing it. We already have all of the new wood boards delivered here, ready to go. We're going to be putting up the new wood boards to look just as it is, as well as later on installing new beams. So we will have that exposed beam look just like we do now. Oh, there's a wasp nest.
Oh, no.
I'll have to get rid of that.
Yeah.
1 here. So for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely 3 rows.
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
Okay. The reason I have to drill this now versus later, we're going to run all of our electrical work after the insulation is in. But once the insulation is in, I won't be able to get the drill up. So, I need a pencil. A pencil would make my life easier. It's going all down my back. That's not pleasant.
It's like a wood shower.
Yeah.
It's so funny because you can't even see what you're doing. I see you like hanging from the ceiling with this.
I'm having fun. Oh, it's so nasty.
Oh, goodness.
There's so many of those more to do.
Sorry.
Alright, here's why we're doing that though. These will be our electrical runs connecting light to light. By doing it now, we will be in a much better position. Boy, it'd be nice to have a knife. I'm very unprepared today.
You need to get organized, man.
Alright, next one. Like this, lower. Yep.
I can't do that. My arms are not very. You forget that you're so strong.
Alright, so one by one, hand me all the pink insulation. Thank you. Alright, so this is my home for the next week.
Fun.
Let me show you what it's going to sound like to do this. I have a feeling like it's going to be a very short video this week because this is going to take me the entire week, and that's a horrific sound. The goal is to cut them tight enough to where they basically hold themselves up. But in this case, where it's just barely too small, a little bit of an angle. So I'm pushing up the insulation boards just high enough to be able to pass our electrical over top of the insulation, and then we'll obviously be bringing in the new boards, the new ceiling boards over top of these beams. But I'm trying not to push them so high up that it's flush to where it's touching the roof, because this style of foam is really, really good at keeping your heat in, but it's not as good as protecting the heat from coming through the roof. Did I say that right? That's confusing. So I'm trying to keep it from not touching the actual roof boards so that there's not as much heat transfer into the house so that the house stays cool in the summer as well as warm in the winter. Thankfully, the slate roof that we have, the slate tiles themselves are incredible at blocking heat out. It's kind of counterintuitive. I would have thought that it would have transferred a lot of the heat because it's black and it's stone and it heats up really fast. So I don't really understand that, but something about them is just really excellent for keeping heat out of the house. I even tested it with a laser thermometer, kind of testing the heat transfer, and there was very little heat actually coming through. But just to be safe, I'm trying to keep a little bit of an air gap if possible.
So first off, I just want to apologize because I'm a bit under the weather this week, which is why I'm wearing a mask, because any extra dust and stuff is just not nice on the airways. But I did want to point out something that has been one of the coolest transformations, I think, and that is our windows. The way Bradey has set this up, it's just pretty incredible. So these are going to be all framed out with the insulation on the sides and the bottom, and he's like carved out the windows so it'll be perfect to like place our new windows in. It's going to be a perfect place to sit and relax and look out the window, read a book. I'm just so excited. It really is starting to feel like a home. It's really starting to come together, and the vision of how these windows are going to add to the space is just really, really exciting. So these ledges are about 2 feet deep. Sorry, I also just did Pilates yesterday and I'm a bit sore.
You're a mess today.
I am a mess. Anyway, what was I saying? I'm sorry, I'm not all there. This is one of my dreams, is to be able to sit in a window like this and be able to look out and enjoy the view. And now it's actually comfortable because the stone is a little bit hard on the back and the bottom. So now it's going to be soft and comfortable. We can put pillows up here and a nice cozy blanket, and I just cannot wait.
You need to go home.
I need to go to bed.
Go home and rest.
I am not feeling very well. I'm sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, Heather's gone home as she's not feeling well, and I think I'm going to start what will end up being a long multi-day time lapse of just plowing through this ceiling insulation. I'm going to put on some music and just get through it. So let me know what you think. Do you think that is mold? I didn't think foam insulation panels could mold because there's nothing organic for the mold to grow on. These particular panels, those two that are appearing to mold, and the panels were dripping wet. Those ones were on the outside of the stack, wrapped in plastic, but water had gotten into them. And there's only that mold-ish growth on one side. So the side that's touching the underside of the roof, the wood, is perfectly clean. I'm gonna let them hang there and dry out, and maybe in a couple of days I'll spray it with a mold killer just to see if that mold killer reacts to it, but I don't know. let me know what you think. Should I replace them or just let it be? Well, another round of insulation was just dropped off. This round, he wasn't able to deliver it straight to the front door. He had to drop it off just over top of the hill here, and we then carried it by hand and rolled it up because there was a tree branch. He was loaded. I wish I had gotten a shot. His truck was loaded probably 15 feet tall with insulation. It is so much insulation when you see it all laid out as it is now. Thankfully, the floor insulation will go in probably 3 times faster and easier than the ceiling insulation, obviously, because we had to cut every single piece for the ceiling, and there won't be nearly as much cutting for the floor. But for underneath the floor, we will have 12 centimeters of insulation. We're going to be doing 2 layers of 6 centimeters each, so that you basically have overlaps on each layer, as well as a second layer that can overlap the seams to make sure that nothing breaks through. And then as an extra precaution, we'll be adding what I believe is a 6 mil thick layer of plastic underneath the insulation, as well as on top of the insulation before we do our final concrete pour. So I tried to spray foam all of the cracks in here, and it really didn't go very well. I even wetted this surface to try to make it stick a little bit better, but gravity is just doing its thing and falling down all over top of me. So it's kind of determining it's really not worth it, because it's really not changing the R value that much. And from a vapor standpoint, the vapor barrier will handle any moisture heading up to the ceiling. So I think after this room, I'm not going to attempt to do that anymore. Now that the bathroom's finished, I'm moving on to the hallway and then to the kids' bedroom, which I can't wait to bring the girls in and show them their new pink ceiling. Chloe's gonna have a fun reaction, I'm sure.
Stand down, darling. We've come too far this time. You've left a hole in place of my heart. Time will tell us. Will we fall in love again, or is this the end? a hole in place